Well, this is a big mess. We are really facing a disaster. Maybe the most important and critical crisis we ever faced in Brazil.
Let's continue talking to Leonardo Leite, partner here at Almeida Corporate Law, about Dilma Rousseff's impeachment process here in Brazil. What are the possible political scenarios in the case of her impeachment?
Okay, well, this is a big mess. We are really facing a disaster. Maybe the most important and critical crisis we ever faced in Brazil. There are maybe two main scenarios. One involves the whole administration, Dilma, our president, and also Michel Temer, our vice president, because one of the reasons for the impeachment refers to the illegal or the potential illegal financing for the campaign. If this is really proven, if we manage to have enough evidence, it's still being investigated, but if we manage to have enough evidence that the whole campaign was at least partially financed with illegal funds, maybe part of the political campaign was financed by construction companies that would pay for this because they wanted some of these big constructions we have in Brazil, like power plants, highways, and so on. If this is ever proved, we would have to cancel the election. Dilma and Temer would be sent home, and we will have to have new elections. This takes some time, probably the rest of the year, but we would have new elections. This is one scenario. The other two scenarios are more focused on Dilma Rousseff herself. One is the misleading use of her power, because she is free to appoint ministers, for example, and also the presidents of the companies which are owned by the states, and many secretaries and so on. Some of the heads of the agencies of the federal administration. She has this power, but she has to use the power in accordance with our law in the benefit of the country and of the administration and of the population. And there are many reasons to at least believe, it is still to be proved, that she's only using her power to protect herself, to protect her party, and to protect the former President Lula. For example, maybe 2 weeks ago, she has appointed former President Lula as the main minister. And we have reasons to believe that it's only because the federal judge in Curitiba, Moro, is investigating, as a part of the whole car wash investigation, is also investigating former President Lula. And the former President Lula is now sort of not protected, because he has reasons to believe that he would have better chances if the Supreme Court analyzes the whole thing against him. If the federal judge Moro in Curitiba keeps on investigating Lula and also many other politicians which are not protected by the Supreme Court jurisdiction, they understand they would be in trouble. So Dilma and Lula potentially made an agreement, and she has appointed him only to avoid this further investigation by Judge Lula in Curitiba. If this is ever evidence, and I'm totally convinced this was what she had in mind and what she did, he cannot be protected, he cannot be really in power. That's the situation now, but it's still up to the Supreme Court to decide. But anyway, this is the second reason for the impeachment. She's not really governing for the country anymore. She's only trying to save herself, former President Lula, and the administration and the party. The third reason also refers more to Dilma and would not really involve Temer, the vice president. It would involve some of the ministers, some of the secretaries, all the finance area. Because we have some rules for the use of the money of the country. The federal budget is approved by the Congress. There are some specific rules for the use, and maybe because of the crisis, it may be also because of the financial crisis, but anyway, we have reasons to believe that Dilma has used or authorized the finance ministers and secretaries to use a good portion of the money, also involving money from the federal banks like BNDES, Caixa Econômica, and maybe Banco do Brasil, to finance part of the administration. Mainly, as she says, with the social programs. And from a legal point of view, this is totally illegal. She would not have the authority to misuse the federal funds, but also there are some reasons to believe that she was sort of forcing these social campaigns and programs to continue to be in place even without the money, because she needs the support of the masses. So this is the third reason. If we can have enough evidence that she really used the funds in a wrong way, what we here in Brazil we call pedalada fiscal, because she's just trying to be riding the administration without any support, then she would be impeached too, and this would be only focused on her. So we have three scenarios. The first one, if the whole campaign is considered illegal because of the illegal financial funds, the whole administration collapsed, Dilma and the vice president, and we need new elections. If, on the other hand, she is condemned only, let's say only, by the illegal use of the power or the illegal use of the funds, then it would be focused only on her, and maybe Temer would be empowered. But I'm talking about the legal aspects. The impeachment itself, which is now being discussed in our Congress, is more a political judgment. One extent, we don't have the recall, as in some countries they have the recall. If the populations or a good portion of the population understand that the government is very bad, they can sort of recall and regain the power and call for new elections because of bad management. We don't have this in Brazil. So bad management itself is not a legal reason for the impeachment. But in the Congress, we don't know, because the Congress is really a political judgment. It's not a legal judgment. The legal judgment itself is probably going to be resolved by the Supreme Court.
Leonardo Leite, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Our pleasure. Luciene Miranda to Dukascopy TV.